Today, we're going to be taking a look at the 3D model of the Jinzhou Magistrate's bodyguard, Sanhua. Just from the splash art alone, she already scares me, and I don't mean her ice clip attitude. Though I think right now would be the best time to say that I don't hate useless belts.
You die!
As much as I clown on Kuro's questionable preference for them, I love designs with useless and impractical details on them as much as the next person, so that said, generally speaking, Sanhua is around the same height as the female rover, plus minus her hat, and besides a couple of red tones, dons muted colors overall, which, to me, honestly supports her profession as a bodyguard. Alright, here we have Sanhua. I'm already intimidated, but let's not add the counter yet, because I actually really like her design. Even though she's showing around as much skin as female rover is, I think they pulled this one off much better by adding tights and other sheer-like elements. But let's start by showing off the full model. On the front, she has a lot of prayer beads, a lot of jade items, and you can obviously tell that this is a uniform by how many king signatures she has. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these all say Jinzhou Magistration or something like that, just to prove her position as a bodyguard. Other than that, from the front, we can already see 3 belts. Just like a lot of the other characters, she has a thigh strap, which is nothing new. Another thing I really like about her, and you need to have read the story for this one, but I really like the story and the placement of her ultimate mark, because, fun fact, Sanhua actually cannot see colors. Everything she sees is living beings in red, black, and white, I believe. Red is a color, technically speaking, but I meant like the colors of the world, which is also how she differentiates between people lying to her and people wanting to be good to her. Side 1, we have a lot more writing on her skirt. More symbolism, though this time it isn't the signature of the Jinzhou Magistrate, something symbolizing either fire or the city of Jinzhou. On to the back side, and I think this is more interesting than the front actually, because she seems to have some sort of brand mark. I don't think this is a tattoo, and I'll come to that later, but this isn't black ink. I know there's colored tattoos, but I think this more looks like a brand mark if anything else. Other than that, you can see that her hair is braided and doesn't really flow down, but instead she has a bow that kind of does that for her, gives that effect. Onto the last side, there's nothing really more to add other than that belt design being symmetrical for some reason, more symbolism, more writing, and yeah. Starting from the top, I really love her hair. And I don't say this for a lot of the other ones, but I feel like her design is more efficiency oriented. She does have long hair, which you can see by her braiding it into the back, but she prefers to keep it up because she's a swordsman, she's a guard, she does not need long hair. Because one yank and you'd be somewhere out the window. Instead, she has a bow doing that kind of job for her, though if you pull on that, the only thing you'll do is undo the bow and nothing else. Another thing I don't really mind with her design is how asymmetric this entire thing is. I know a lot of people clown on Yelan of Genshin Impact, asking who the f her barber is because they botched her or something, I don't know, I can't relate with that, but I think this is really cool, they did that really well. Another thing I've said for the male rover, and I'll gladly say again for Sanhua, is please make merch. Please make the clothing articles merch. I need that beret. I don't wear berets, but for some reason I think this is really pretty. It's very simplistic, and the fact that no one can really understand what that says just kind of makes it seem more brand-like. I don't know. The little bangle also looks really cute. I think this would be a very pretty design, though I do prioritize the jacket. Kuro, please just make the jacket already. I need it. As far as accessories go, I can't really tell if this is attached to the beret. I'm just going to say it is because otherwise it'd be kind of floating. She does have asymmetrical earrings, which are very sharp, girly. Are you okay? Like, it's not like you're gonna need to stab someone's eye out with that. You have a sword. But these are also asymmetric, though that kind of makes sense because this will be covering up anyway, though they didn't even bother to put the same kind of shading here or a stud or something. So if she ever decides to change her hairstyle, no earrings? I don't know. Other than her sharp-ass earring, which I'm kind of scared of, she has another bow in her hair, which again, as I said, this seemingly kind of replaces the need for a ponytail, and is keeping together her braid, I think? Or at least it's woven into it. Lastly, I don't know what this is. It's not quite a bow. It's more of just like a string of fabric that is bobby pinned into her braid. Though it has more writing on it, so maybe it's just like a note from Jinchi or something. Going a bit further down, we see more symbolism, or rather more signatures of the Jincho Magistrate, and something that I think has been really well executed. We've seen a lot of characters with just right out cleavage. Female Rover has, I think, the most side boob I've seen in the game so far. And she only has this admittedly big ass window, but it's covered by a sheer top. I like fan service as much as the next person. Male or female, I don't care, but I really like this. I don't know, I just don't think having her cleavage out seems very bodyguardish, so even though they seemingly had to add it in, I think they did that very well. Ignoring her window, she seems to have a half traditional Chinese top mixed with a crop top, which have red jade buttons. Though I can't really tell if they're really buttons, they're also just kind of floating and there is no texturing to indicate that they are. I don't know, Kuro just seemingly likes floating jewelry, though that kind of does make sense because you don't really see it this close in the game, so they don't need to texture that. Something I've noticed is the prayer beads. She has prayer beads here and she has prayer beads down here, and according to the story, and I'm interpreting this, but Sanhua is not her given birth name. It was actually given to her by an abbot after she was taken into a temple. I might have to put in a screenshot where exactly the name Sanhua originates from according to the lore, but if she was taken into a temple, it kind of explains the prayer beads. At first I just thought it was from her devotion to Jinchi, but apparently not. More to her top, much like female Rover, she also has this seemingly useless strap or garter or whatever you want to call it. It literally just goes around and holds another bangle down here. Moving on to the back, I also think they did this really well. Even though it's showing off a lot of back, there is no useless double cleavage or anything else that is sexual? Question mark? I know some people are into some weird shit, but her top seems to be connected via a small string and another big bangle, though I am questioning if that's not choking her to some extent, because that seems heavy unless it's not real gold. I don't know, this would usually drag down, wouldn't it? She's probably fine. I really like this clasp also, and we'll see this clover design further down as well, but I think this might be black jade, as is the little bangle on her beret, I think. Here's what we have again. I really think this is a brand mark, and if you ever read the lore when the game comes out, you'll see how really devoted she is to be Jinchi's blade. Down here on her tights, this is, I think, what a real tattoo looks like. I don't think it's just imprinted onto the tights because that would stretch and ruin the signature. So she's seemingly very devoted to Jinchi. And again, if you read the story, it makes a lot of sense why, kind of. So I might do a reading on the story, but I already have so many videos planned up with dissections that I don't know if I'll have time for it. I don't know, we'll see. Moving on to her arms, I think they kept this very simplistic for a reason. She's Jinchi's blade and she doesn't need any useless sleeves flubbering about. So the arms seem to be very bare, except for these simplistic black gloves. As for the gloves themselves, they kept these very simple compared to some of the other characters. They're literally just black with a little window on the top. Before we move on, I do have to say that her design is very bottom heavy. She doesn't have much on the top, and even though I said she doesn't need any useless sleeves slobbering about, her skirt is quite long. And I think some aspects of this, and I'm sorry for criticism, but might annoy her? Cause I know these things annoy you. I do own canvas belts that are almost as tall as me, and I can already tell you this is annoying. After slicing her in two, we are left with the bottom half. And I think now we can finally put up the counter. 1, 2, this is actually 1 belt, so 3, 4, 5. Kuro, please. Kuro. Before you say, no, this is 2 belts, this is actually a canvas belt. It's a belt that is usually way longer than it's supposed to be, only for fashion. Like I said, I do own one of those that is almost as tall as me, plus minus 30 centimeters. These are actually meant to go around, loop around the end, and then go down. Though I do think 1 belt more and I'll go fucking insane. One thing right off the bat, save for these side parts, she doesn't have any loops to put these belts through. So one wrong move and they either slide down, or if you clip this off, slide up. Very annoying. I don't know why they won't just add loops. I don't know if they're allergic or something. I know you could explain it away by saying that it might look really weird to put loops on like their little waist trainers or whatever the fuck they have here. She's a bodyguard. She moves around a lot, so these would slip down 100%, or at least the topmost one would lie on top of the bottom one. As sorry as I am, it would not stay up. Ignoring the belts for now, we have another thing that doesn't make too much sense. So in total, we either have 3 skirts or 1 skirt consisting of 3 parts. Because on the top, she has this sort of armor, which has a lot of gaps, so it's not really shielding you from anything. And this is just laced together by fabric, so 1 slice and you'd have another gap. And as much as I was proud before that Sanhua is very efficiency based, this is not protecting you from anything. Then we have the short skirt part, which wouldn't be as bad if the back wasn't sewn into the long skirt. I can't really tell which is on top of which here, because here it looks like this is on top of the long skirt. If we take a teeny tiny look under, this isn't connected at all. I'm sorry to some people, but we probably will never see under her skirt. I think this was intentional, but looking at her closely, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm just going to say that this is just all 1 skirt and move on, I think, because I won't be able to sleep otherwise. The belts are already my sleep paralysis demon. I don't need more to think about. She has this little hook in her waistband that holds this little clove symbol again that we've seen on the back of her top, which holds this little handkerchief almost, or maybe a bow, I'm not really sure, with more of the Jinsho magistration, I think, on it. On the back, she has more of those clove symbols with black jade, the lace-up thing I've mentioned before, with more bangles, and more flying things. Going a bit further down, we do have what I think is the actual tattoo compared to what I think is a brand mark. Another thigh strap, though this time she is missing the bags, and this might just be another one of those I'm constantly in a fight, I don't need useless bags hanging off of me kind of thing that Sanhua has so far. Maybe she just prefers to have no storage space, I don't know. There's not really much else to say about her legs, though, I mean, thighs, but that aside, there's not much detail on them. So we are moving on to the shoes. When I first saw these, I was actually searching for the lace, but it appears the lace is on the back. So no points of criticism for me. I think this is just like 1 piece, and then this is where you actually tie up the shoes. This doesn't seem to be the Jinsho Magistrate's signature, though this might just be too small to actually put it there. No random dots, no random belts on them, which I think is really nice for once. But one cool thing I think they've added is this. Instead of having another Jinsho Magistration signature on the bottom of her shoes, this is actually the symbol of the city of Jinsho. I think I'll put it here on the screen somewhere so you can kind of compare, but it does look similar, doesn't it? Now that we're done with the bottom half, I think we can finally put her 2 halves back together. Overall, my impression of Sanhua is I like her a lot. And that's not just because she's one of the first characters I've actually read the lore of. I've not really read a lot of the lore, and that is why I got Danjin's glove in the last video so wrong. I really like her lore, it's really sad, and I think her character design just really reflects that. I think her design is so muted because she cannot see much color. But yeah, next up is KuroGames. I think that is how you pronounce his name. Be proud of me, I can finally pronounce it after plus minus 2 months. I really like Sanhua. Her design is really nice. I might do some lore readings, maybe not, I'll see. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and have a nice day.